Hey guys, Jackie here. If you clicked on this video, chances are you're right smack in the middle of creating your own story for your comic, novel, animation, or video game. Or you're just starting out on a brand new project and want to create a story, but don't know where to begin and how to generate good ideas. Well, have no fear. Your girl's gotcha. We will go through the basics of world building and story creation, and you will know exactly what to do. So, let's get started. Coming up with the genre. This is the very first thing you should do when creating a story from nothing, deciding its genre. This will instantly decide what kind of setting your story will be. Action, adventure, comedy, romance, mystery, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, the list goes on. Maybe you already have an idea of what genre you want to tackle, and that's awesome. But let's assume you don't. How will you decide which genre to pick? And here is the answer to that question. I give you
the random word generator.
All you have to do on this convenient little device is press a button and all you have to do is write a list of words down in this little area here and generate a random combination. Now, you could be like me and choose the first one that you get, or you could keep generating random ideas until you get something that you like. In this case, I got comedy romance, so that's what I'll be going with. What kind of culture and time period does your story take place in? Once you've decided the genre of your story, the very next thing you should focus on is the time period and the culture of your story. This is important because you'll need to decide on a specific kind of world for your characters to live in, and then determine how your characters will interact with each other. Does your story take place in the past, present, or future? Do your characters use guns, magic, aliens, or sticks and stones to fight each other? Think about it as deeply as you can. Or you can make a brand new culture by mixing two existing cultures together. It looks like I got Atlantis and an animal culture. Okay, this'll be interesting. Rules for your characters. Okay, now that you know the genre, the culture, and the time period for your story, now we have to discuss the rules. Do plenty of research into the specific race or races of your characters and the time period that you have chosen. How does this culture function in the day-to-day life? Is there a magic or power system in place? Do your characters rely on technology to get tasks done? What are your characters allowed and not allowed to do? The key to really developing your world into something expansive and interesting will be in this very step. So do plenty of research and look at real-life references. And don't worry if you can't come up with a lot of ideas at once. Most writers don't have such godly skills, and will instead create their world as they write. But you will need something basic to work off from at the very start. So, begin with that. Magic systems. Now, if you do by chance have some kind of magic or power system in place, you will need to decide on the rules for that too, and be able to explain how it works to the audience. How are your characters able to use said power, and what are the limitations of the system? Do your characters use things like ki, chakra, superpowers, spells, card summoning, special weapons, or transformation? These are examples of different power systems that you can use for your story. Now, when it comes to designing what the rules are for your system, do your best to keep things consistent throughout the story. You don't want a character to suddenly become overpowered, and you don't want to rely on plot armor to get your characters out of bad situations. Otherwise, your power system will seem inconsistent and confusing. So keep the rules the same for everyone at all times, unless, they're God. As a side note, if your story happens to take place in the real world and you don't have any powers or magic systems in it, world building will be very easy for you, as you'll only have to reference real life things for your story. So the part that you should be focused on is how to make the story and characters interesting to your audience in this ordinary world. Putting it all together and coming up with a storyline. So now that we've got our genre, culture, time period, rules, and systems in place, now you'll need to actually come up with the storyline and the characters. For some of you, you might be able to come up with a story on the spot with these kinds of options. For others, it may take some time to come up with ideas. Unfortunately, I can't really give you an idea generator this time. one that can randomly come up with storylines. I mean, I would make billions if I could. I do think the best way to get inspired is to look for inspiration and have an open mind at all times, because you never know when something might hit you. Another thing that you can do to help generate a plot, though, is by actually designing your characters. Giving them unique visual features, personalities, and motives is fun and thought-provoking, and could help you come up with a plot line. I'll be doing a video on character design, so be sure to check it out when it comes out. In the meantime, I have some other videos about writing good characters that could really help you, and you could watch that in the meantime. But that's about all I could say as far as world building goes and coming up with an idea for your story. I hope these tips were helpful for you, and if you happen to have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below in the comment section. Until then, guys, happy writing. Bye!